If you had just 6 words to sell your business, what would it be? It sounds impossible, right? But that's exactly the power behind today's book and why this episode is long overdue. This is the Leaders Are Readers series where we borrow the brilliance of business legends and turn it into action steps for our small businesses. Now, this book had me rethinking everything from marketing campaigns to political campaigns that outlived the candidates to brand phrases that have stuck around for decades. It caused me to think about marketing that didn't feel like marketing.
It's time to reinvent.
Welcome to the Lessons of Entrepreneurship, the journey of reinvention. If you're new here, check out past book reviews in the description. You're going to love them. We've covered some really amazing classic business books. Today's gem, The Microscript Rules. How to tell your story and differentiate your brand in a sentence or less by Bill Schley. Get this, the new edition of this book is dropping soon. So grab a copy because this is marketing. If you read Positioning the Battle for Your Mind by Al Ries and Jack Trout, you're familiar with the idea of you've got to be first, and if you can't be first, then be the only. And we've covered that book too. It's in the show notes. But even with solid positioning, here's where many of us get stuck. Many entrepreneurs get stuck here. How do you say what you do in a way that resonates in this 8-second attention span environment? Enter the microscript. Bill Schley kicks off the book with 4.5 big rules. Yes, 4.5, because he's a marketer, right? Don't you love a good pattern interruption? 4.5 big rules. And his mantra is that the right 6 words will always beat 6,000. Think about that. The right 6 words will always beat 6,000, right? He mentions some of the things that in culture we all remember. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Immediately, you know what I'm talking about. It's a story in a sentence. And a microscript should point us to the heart of the matter. Because in the author's words, the truth is simple. We're not trying to invent some complex, unique way. We're simply highlighting what is universally true. Bill Schley refers to this as brain speak. To get someone to take action, your communication has to be intuitive. It has to speak to your unconscious intelligence. It's their brain speak. Just do it. Yes, we can. These are tiny phrases that tell big stories. So big rule number 1, it's not what people hear, it's what they repeat. Nike didn't say we're selling running shoes. They gave runners a phrase that felt like a nudge from their future self. You can imagine being a runner, waking up in the morning, and you don't feel like going for that run. The messaging of Nike is, you know you want to do it as a runner, as an athlete. Just do it. These are the battles they face every day in trying to maintain an active routine. And there comes the word that's intuitive. It's sayable, it's repeatable, and it's ownable, like you're saying your own thoughts. Big rule number 2 is word of mouth. At the end of the day, the best form of marketing is word of mouth. That example of Nike's. I can imagine a runner telling other runners, just do it. People don't say something because they were told to. They do it because they like to. They want to. It's fun to say it. It just makes sense. It's almost as if the runners thought of it themselves. He says in today's world, every screen is a word of mouth machine. People don't share facts. They share phrases, they share stories, and they share emotion. Big rule number 3, story isn't everything. It's the only thing. He says, show me a picture. Tell me a story. Immediately, I thought about Barack Obama's Yes We Can campaign. It was a vote arguably won by the politically marginalized, youth, women, and people of color. A story in 3 words. Yes, we can. Big rule number 4, give him a microscript. And this is what he says. I'm reading straight from the book. A microscript is a short phrase, almost always a rule of thumb or a key idea that people like to repeat word for word to inform, to persuade, or remind themselves and others. It uses vivid description, metaphors, and rhyme, rhythmic language to trigger a story in the mind. All in all, microscripts are brain speak. Think about some of these famous microscripts that have stood the test of time. Friends don't let friends drive drunk. A campaign developed by the Ad Council in collaboration with the US Department of Transportation. You would think it was launched just the other day. It was launched in 1983. If you go back to the background of what he says is a microscript, he says it's a universal truth. It's brain speak. It's simple. You're not inventing something new. You're merely tapping into people's unconscious intelligence. Christian movements of the 1990s, there was What Would Jesus Do? WWJD. That's the whole story. What would Jesus do? Recently, the Donald Trump campaign, whatever you believe about Donald Trump, but just looking at the messaging, Make America Great Again. You can understand why people would resonate with such a message. Make America Great Again. Movies like The Godfather. The Godfather. What else do you need to know? It's a story in 2 words. Like I said in the beginning, I started to think of all the marketing messaging that almost feels like it's something that you've thought of yourself and you repeat it and you like repeating it. I thought of myself as a Zimbabwean. The Zimbabwean ruling party, ZANU-PF, it doesn't matter what you think about their politics, but they had a message, son of the soil, to an African youth, son of the soil. It's a story in 4 words. How does this apply to us as small business owners? When you're naming your newsletter, your lead magnets, your offers, think about giving them a microscript, a story in a few words. Big rule 4.5. This is for business owners particularly. If you want a brand that sells, build your microscript on a dominant selling idea or a unique selling proposition. Some people prefer to say it that way. Steps in the book. He says, number 1, get your difference first. Know what is different about your newsletter. Know what is different about your offer. Know what is different about your business. What is different? Then, step number 2, what is your story? Step number 3, turn your story into a microscript. The last step is then broadcast it to the masses in a social network. And a rookie mistake that we often make is doing it backwards. We broadcast to the masses before we've dialed in all those things, before we've created our microscript, before we understood our story, before we've identified our difference or created our difference. He mentions even how a mission statement should be a microscript. And he talks about an infomercial for a back supporter. Their mission statement was, we're going to fix the way the world sits. When you think about that, what will you fix? What is your mission statement? And it all starts by understanding the narrative that's in your target client's mind. I'd say it's more than just saying back to them what they would say. Most marketers would advise using the words that your audience would use. In a sense, that's one step of getting to a microscript because you're stepping into what they would naturally say. But I think the microscript goes a step further because it anchors on the fact that marketing is about elevating. It's not being literal. So you don't want to go to the extreme where you're so fancy that it confuses. But using imagery and rhyme in a simple way. So the other day, I don't know if I read it or I heard it, but it was this statement: the battle you failed to win, your children will have to fight. And it stuck with me. It's a universal truth. I heard it, I repeated it to other people, and then because I've been reading this book, I think about such things like, what are the things I've heard and I've repeated? And then I think to myself, what's the battle? Could it be financial stability? The battle you fail to win, your children will have to fight. Could it be building a business? The battle you fail to win, your children will have to fight. It's hijacked a universal truth, whatever the context might be. So, to apply this, marketing isn't just about parroting what your audience would say. It's not about being literal or robotic. It's about elevating the narrative. It's about giving them language to believe something better. And it's about triggering transformation. If you think about all those things, yes, you can. Make America great again. Just do it. It's memorable and it's shareable. I haven't even finished reading this book. The author goes into telling you exactly how to do this chapter by chapter. If this interests you, in this world of you have to grab someone's attention really quickly, grab the book, The Microscript Rules by Bill Schley, work the book, and hey, use AI to craft your message. Your message is the bullseye of your marketing. If you hit it, you win. If you miss it, you miss out. So, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe for more book breakdowns to grow your small business and your brand. I'd love to hear things that came up for you as you were listening to this episode. There's so many things that if someone doesn't say it to you, you don't think about it. So I definitely love that about this book, that it caused me to think about how I've experienced marketing that didn't feel like marketing. And without being asked to, I took it upon myself to share that word of mouth machine. Do get this book. I'd be interested to know what you gain from it. Let's talk about some of the microscripts that have shaped culture, that are shaping culture. Until then, let's say less and say it better. Thank you for watching. If you love what we're serving here at the Lessons of Entrepreneurship, the Journey of Reinvention podcast, please share this episode and have some conversations around these principles and ideas. There's nothing better than talking business with a fellow business bestie. Bring some inspiration to your entrepreneurship journeys. And as always, thank you so much for listening in, and see you soon.